justice. We want closure for the family members. We want equality. And most of all, we want accountability from the Prime Minister, Chuck Straw, all the leaders of the country who are socially accepting this demise. We don't want these women to disappear anymore. We want justice for them, and we want closure. Why do we walk? That's the only way we seem to get anything to happen around here, is we have to walk and walk and walk. I walked the highway of tears. I felt the pain of every woman that went missing on that highway. Every step I took was painful, because I knew that nobody found or cared what happened to these women. Well, I care, and I've got a whole crew of people here that do care. And we want society to care. I've been networking now for about 5 months online, and we've got about 1,000 people working across the country who are approaching their leaders, they're approaching their MPs, they're approaching their chiefs. They're going to be greeting us along the way. We've got actions happening right across the nation, and I'm ashamed to say that the only support that we're not getting is in Vancouver. And I want that to change, because we're talking about the women. We're not talking about us, we're talking about the women. These women matter. You know what happens to their children? They go right to the government care, just like they did with the residential school. I know 3 women that had 14 children between them. And they're in government care. And what's going to happen? They're going to go through the same crap that we did through residential school. And we want to stop that. We want to fight for their education. We want them to know that we care for their mothers. We want them to know that society cares what happens to them. And we want to build them a true and honest, caring society. We want them to be positive leaders in our future. These are our future that we're talking about here, and somebody has to stand up for them now. So we'll be leaving from Trout Lake, Vancouver, BC. We're going to be leaving on June 21st, National Aboriginal Day. We'll be getting there around 7 o'clock in the morning. We'll be blessed by a spiritual leader before we leave. And then we'll be taking off through the low-heat highway. And our first stop is going to be at the Robert Picton Farm. We want to offer our prayers to all the women, all the families, and then we'll continue our journey through to Ottawa. We already have confirmation from Parliament Hill. You have to book it 6 months in advance. And we have confirmed that we have a rally for Walk for Justice, September 15th, 2008. And I do really hope to see about 20,000 more people there if we can. Most of all, we want our communities to know that we care for these children. I want our communities to stand together and look after these children, because they're important to all of us. The women are life givers of their societies, and we have to respect that. That's all we want is justice, accountability. And I'll be focusing on that through the Prime Minister and Chuck Straw. And I appreciate it if we can get all our communities together for these women. That's who we're walking for, is the women and their children. I'd like to say that the Aboriginal Mother Centre Society are the only organization that came forward with an account so we could start gathering donations. And they're in severe trouble right now. And what's happening is because they've lost their funding, they're unable to feed about 1,700 women and children a month. And that's not right either. They're taking away our organizations one at a time. And what they're doing is a real shame, because they shouldn't be shutting down places like this. These are safe havens for the women and the children. They offer food, they offer clothes, they offer comfort, safe haven, they offer life skills, they offer daycare. Right now they're trying to work with Builders and Borders so they can provide at least 12 emergency shelters for women and children who are victims of crime, victims of domestic violence. And they're trying to help these women. And they can't do it without funding. And it's a shame to see something like that. This is the first of its kind in North America, the Aboriginal Mother Center. It's the first of its kind, and they're being forced to shut their doors, and I don't think that's right. Because who's losing out on this? It's the women and children who are losing out. We've got a fabulous crew there that work their butts off to try and keep food on the table for these women and children and keep them going, give them a reason to live. That's taking away again from the poverty. The poverty is just incredible, and that's why they're there in the first place, because of the high levels of poverty. And I think it's about time people started stepping up to the plate and realizing that these organizations are needed. They're needed to help our women and children. I'd like to really stress to you that we don't want the Aboriginal Mother Centre to close. We can't afford to close the doors on our women and children like that. Thank you.